Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Today we are going to start the next lecture. We are going to start chapter 3. Chapter name is Indirect Investment. Before starting the chapter, first, it is important that you people know about direct and indirect investment. Now, what is direct investment? Suppose this is general public. What is general public doing? They are investing in bonds, or they are investing in shares. I'm writing shortly. So when they are directly purchasing bonds or shares of a company, this is called direct investment. No one is involved in the center. See, now keep in mind, in purchasing bonds and shares, there are some dealers involved. We call these dealers, mostly it is in shares, we call it brokers. Brokers are just your agents. They are nothing else. They are not intermediaries. They are what? They are just the agents. Agents of buyers. These are, suppose, buyers. On this side, these are, suppose, sellers. And sellers are selling bonds, buyers are buying bonds, but in the middle, these brokers are involved. Basically, it is the rule of stock exchange that without brokers you can't buy shares, you can't sell shares. So because of this thing, these brokers are involved in buying and selling shares. So direct investment is what? When you, suppose this is you are going directly to stock exchange, you are buying shares, or you are going to any financial market and you are purchasing bonds directly. No one is involved in between. And I told you about brokers. Why brokers are involved? This is mandatory in the purchase of shares. Without brokers, you can't buy shares. Without brokers, you can't sell shares. He will be involved. He is basically commission agent. He is there for commission. In buying shares, in selling shares, he will receive his commission. So this is basically direct investment. I'll take another example, that you are going to deposit your money in a bank and bank is paying you 10% interest. So this is also an example of direct investment. Now, what is indirect investment? Now, suppose this is general public and this general public wants to purchase invest money, but because these people don't have experience, lack of experience, sorry, they don't have experience in bonds and shares and some other things, whatever that is. So what are they doing? They are giving their money to someone else. This someone else, this is basically investment companies. What is investment company in detail in the next slides we will discuss. These are basically investment companies. Then they're taking money from this general public and then what are they doing? They are investing this money in bonds and shares. They are purchasing bonds and shares of other companies. So see, this is general public. This general public, because of lack of experience, what are they doing? They are giving their money to an investment company. This is investment company. Basically, these investment companies, they are issuing bonds and shares. Shares. They are issuing shares to this general public. When they issue shares, suppose this is a certificate. This share is basically a certificate. They are issuing these certificates to this general public. The general public, they are purchasing the shares of this investment company and giving them. Certificate is going to the public, money is going to the investment company. Then this investment company, they are investing this money in bonds and shares of other companies. Listen again. This is general public. Because of lack of experience, they don't have experience in investment, in bonds and shares. So maybe they will lose their all money. So what are they doing? They are giving their money to this investment company. I told you the investment company is issuing shares to them. So certificate is going to the public, and in place of certificate, by purchasing certificate, they are giving their money to this investment company. The money that investment company receives from the public, they are investing it in bonds and shares of other companies. This is basically called indirect investment. Indirect, writing shortly, investment. Now, indirect investment, chapter name is indirect investment. What is indirect investment? Alternative to direct investment in our ownership of securities. Mean it is an alternative to direct investment. In our ownership of securities refers to buying and selling the shares of intermediaries, just like I tell you here. They are buying shares of these investment companies. See, in the definition, refers to buying and selling the shares of intermediaries, that is basically investment companies, that hold securities in portfolio. And what are these investment companies doing? They are purchasing bonds and shares of other companies, and they are making a portfolio. They are not investing their money in one company's shares or bonds, because if this company is in losses, so they will lose the whole money. I'm talking about investment company. Shares are ownership interest in portfolio entitled to portfolio income. Shares are basically ownership interest, keep in mind. You know about ownership interest. Ownership interest means if you purchase a certificate, a share, so this means, suppose you purchased a share whose price is $10, so this means that you are owner in this investment company. Ownership interest, this is ownership interest, so it means that you are owner in this investment company by $10, and the income, the portfolio income that investment company receives, you will get your portion by $10. See, shares are ownership interest in portfolio entitled to portfolio income. The income that this investment company is generating from this portfolio when they are investing in bonds and shares. So this is what is, they are making a portfolio. So the income that they are receiving on portfolio, on this portfolio, so you will be a shareholder in this income by $10. So this is basically indirect investment. Financial firms that sells shares to the public and uses the proceeds to invest in marketable securities. The same definition that we discussed, that these investment companies, they are issuing shares to the public. The proceeds means the money that they are receiving, they are investing it in marketable securities. What is marketable security? Bonds and shares and other financial instruments. These are called marketable securities. We discussed about marketable securities, if you people remind, from the previous chapter. Investment company, beside diversification, offer professional management, and shareholders pay some charges for that. Now what does it mean? One benefit of investment company is that they provide you diversification. Basically, if you want to purchase bonds and shares directly, what will happen? Maybe the amount of money that you are investing, that is not that much enough that you will make a portfolio. You will purchase shares of one company or two companies, and purchase cost means the commission, it will be too much high. So it will be costly to you, and the other thing is you will not be able to make a portfolio. So your risk will be high. But these investment companies, they are receiving money from different people, lots of people. So they are getting a huge sum of money, and then they are investing it in bonds and shares of other companies. So when they got a huge sum of money, so they are purchasing bonds and shares of different companies. So this thing provides them the facility that they can make a portfolio, and your risk will be minimized. The other thing, professional management. Individually, now it will be difficult for you. You're an individual. Now maybe you have experience of investment, or you don't have experience. If you have experience, it is better. But majority of people, they have money, but they don't have experience. So what is investment company? What is the benefit of the investment company? Investment company, there are professionals, professional managers, portfolio manager, risk analysts, and a lot other. So these are providing you a professional management. So that is the other benefit of investment companies. So one benefit is they provide you diversification, your risk will be minimized, and the second thing is they will provide you professional management. Their management is professional, there are professionals, their team is a professional team, and shareholders pay some charges for that, and then this investment company, for their services, they are charging some fee. This investment company, they are charging what? They are working for you, and they are working for this fee. So what we discussed two things. One is direct investment, and the other one is indirect investment. Now listen shortly. Direct investment is what? Bonds, shares, general public. This is public. These are people. Suppose. What are they doing? They are purchasing bonds and shares of different companies directly. No one is involved here in the middle. The other thing is, this is public. They don't have experience because of lack of experience. What are they doing? They are giving their money to the investment company, and this investment company is purchasing bonds and shares of other companies. So this is the difference between direct investment and indirect investment. In direct investment, in public and in companies, no one is involved in the center. Means public is directly investing their money in bonds and shares of companies, in simple words. So this is direct investment. In indirect investment, public is purchasing shares of investment companies, and this investment company, when they receive money from the public, they are investing bonds and shares of other companies. This is called indirect investment, when someone is involved in the middle. Then we discussed that it is indirect investment is alternative to direct investment in ownership of securities. Indirect investment is what? Alternative to direct investment. Refers to buying and selling the shares of intermediaries that hold securities in portfolio. We discussed about this in detail. Just I will discuss about this thing, that this investment company, what is the benefit of the investment company? They provide you diversification. They will minimize the risk. Why? If individually you will purchase bonds or you will purchase shares, so it will be difficult for you to purchase the shares of 4, 5, 6 companies. You will be unable to make a portfolio. But why? Because your amount of money, it is small. But investment company, they are receiving money from thousands of people, from millions of people, public. But individually, if this man is investing money in bonds and shares, so making portfolio, it will be difficult for him. So they are providing you what? The benefit of diversification, because they are investing in bonds and shares of different companies, so the chance, the risk of loss, it will be minimum. And the next thing is they provide you professional management. The management in investment companies, it is professional. They have risk analysts, they have portfolio managers, they have finance managers, they have a lot other. So because of this, the risk will be what will be minimized. The risk, the chance of loss, if they have a good professional team, individually it will be difficult for you to handle. But when there is a professional team, so they can invest your money in a better way. I think for today it is enough. Inshallah, in the next class, then we will discuss about company types. Okay, have a good time.